Mark Hunt flattened a UFC legend in Australia to set up the Brock Lesnar fight that saved UFC 200 card. Mark Hunt was a late addition to the UFC 200 card after a disaster saw the main event get removed from the show at short notice. The card was originally supposed to feature Conor McGregor taking on Nate Diaz in a rematch from Notorious' shock defeat at UFC 196. However, the former UFC double champion announced his shock, albeit brief, retirement from the UFC months before the event, leaving Dana White scrambling for a main event. That was Jon Jones versus Daniel Cormier, but after Jones' failed drug test, a new bout involving Brock Lesnar's return to the octagon was on offer for the winner of Mark Hunt's main event in Australia. Cain Velasquez had one eye on Brock Lesnar when he knocked out a legend at UFC's Australia debut. Mark Hunt flattened Frank Mir in Australia to set up clash with Brock Lesnar. McGregor posted his supposed retirement on social media on April 19, which handed Jones versus Cormier the main event. However, once Jones failed his drug test and was refused a spot on the card, White had to hand Brock Lesnar a $2.5 million check to return to the promotion to headline the event. As it turns out, a bout between two top 10 heavyweights had been the de facto fight to face Lesnar, when number 9 ranked Hunt took on the legendary Frank Mir in a titanic battle in the UFC in Australia. Mir may have been the younger and taller man, but Hunt possessed that unstoppable power in his fist that could put even the toughest fighters to sleep, which he proved in Brisbane on March 20, 2016. The bout didn't even make it past the first round. Mir tried to keep away from Hunt's fists while attempting, unsuccessfully, to take down one of the top Kiwi fighters of all time. A heavy-looking Mir struggled to move around Hunt, who only needed one massive right hand to end the fight via knockout. Hunt walked away before the referee had even called the fight, hitting one of the most nonchalant walk-off KOs you'll ever see in the octagon. The win set Hunt up perfectly for a clash with Lesnar at UFC 200, although it was a fight that he would become furious about once the truth came out. Mark Hunt was furious about Brock Lesnar failing multiple drug tests after losing to the former champion. Hunt lost to Lesnar over 3 rounds by a judge's decision at one of the highest-drawing PPVs in UFC history, although the result was later overturned due to Lesnar failing a drug test, just as Jones had prior to UFC 200. This was something Hunt never forgot, and he launched legal proceedings against Lesnar and the UFC, which were eventually shot down. However, the idea of Lesnar cheating just made him furious. He told Ariel Helwani in an interview in 2016, "It just makes me laugh, because that's how he won his world title. He stuck a needle in his poo chute and that's how he won his title." People say, "Oh Mark, it doesn't help you." Well then if it doesn't help you, why do it? You.